Okay, guys, so a lot has happened since we last recorded, right?
It's
It's now November.
It is.
It's now November. It's 6 o'clock, and it's already pitch fucking black outside.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm trying to grow a beard because
Shave November.
Well, I think I might have shaved like once in November, but
I didn't even notice. This is the first time
you can't even tell. I know. I'm gonna zoom.
No, it's not that.
I'm gonna zoom in on the camera. You can't even like see.
It's not that. It's the lighting.
Yeah, the lighting.
You need to get into a shadow.
Yeah.
There you
go.
Oh
yeah, there it is. Hey. Oh, the future wife, the fiance. She said like, yeah, you should try to grow a beard. I like it.
I'm not allowed to really? I'm not allowed to shave mine off. So.
Maybe this might turn into a thing now.
Are you part Amish?
I must be.
You're not allowed to shave it off.
Well, yeah, that's probably the reason.
If he was Amish, he wouldn't have a mustache, though.
That's true. Maybe that'll be the next move.
You're not allowed to shave the beard, so you shave everything else.
I might switch it up here soon. I might just go stash, just because I did that before.
Just like Fu Manchu.
No, not even any of this. Just stash.
I don't know.
I like it.
I'm not a stash.
I like it.
Stash and leave the little patch of fluff there.
Yeah, like you're a rock star.
And I'll look like I'm about 14 years old again.
But yeah, we had some scheduling issues last week, so I hope you guys saw my YouTube post that I put out there. Had a little bye week last week. So,
you did.
A little bit.
With the Steelers.
With the Steelers, actually the same week as the Steelers.
Took off.
But we're back. We're ready to
Just
talk
like
some
the
football.
Steelers.
Just like the Steelers. We're ready to talk some football. We'll talk some Steelers. We'll talk some college football.
A little bit.
We'll talk, I don't know, Donald Trump is your new 47th president of the
I knew they loved me. They all love me.
Did you win by a lot?
4 million votes.
That's quite a few.
Won the Electoral College and the popular vote.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I didn't do it before, but I did it this time. The Puerto Ricans love me.
Yeah, true. And I think some different people in Pennsylvania love you. A different group we just mentioned.
The white supremacists.
I didn't mean that.
Oh, the Amish.
There it is. Yeah.
Hey. What's the difference? They've never seen a black man.
Oh my! Wow. Yeah.
We got like I feel like there's always some kind of. Is there like a jingle that they play like during these like election episode? They like whenever they're showing the election, like
not really because it just depends on like if you're on MSNBC, CNN, Fox. It's just
something like doo doo doo, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Depending on the channel.
I'm sure there's like an American song that we could play, sing, hum.
I was born in the USA. I was born in the USA.
I like it.
That's pretty good.
It'll do.
It'll do.
Well, I think that's Bruce Springsteen.
It is. It
Nice.
is the boss, Bruce Springsteen.
Thought so.
Welcome back. Like we just said, off our bye week, episode 51. We are here. It is October. Oh, no, it's not. It's November 13th, 2024.
Good try.
I thank you. Hey, we're a little rusty. Hey, what are you going to do?
It's been a while.
I'm joined by Kean Kropp, Cleve Smith. I'm Cody Kropp. And then today will be our Week 10 review. Maybe we'll talk about anything crazy that happened in Week 9 last week, because there was some big stuff, but everyone's probably seen it by now. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the college games from Week 10, and we'll do our Chris Collinsworth glaze. And, yeah, so let's get caught up here and back into the groove and start off with some college reviews from Week 10. Well, I guess it would be college Week 11, huh?
Yeah, it's college Week 11.
Yeah. So anyways,
yep.
First game we'll touch on here, Georgia went into Ole Miss and got stomped by Jackson Dart and the Ole Miss Ball Club. The Ole Miss won by 18 points, 28-10. And Georgia started out, stomped down the field pretty quick, got a touchdown, and then it was completely garbage from there. Carson Beck looked bad. Their whole team looked bad. They had way too many turnovers. Their defense struggled guarding the Ole Miss wide receivers. Jackson Dart was just throwing it seemingly to anyone that he wanted it to. And Georgia just couldn't get anything consistently going on the offensive side of the ball. But I guess the only good thing that Georgia did do, the score was obviously they lost by a lot, but they did, I think, the Ole Miss kicker kicked like 5 or 6 field goals or something like that. So they kept him out of the end zone, but Georgia just on the offensive side could not do anything. They just couldn't get anything put together. On the Ole Miss side, well, for one, there's the QB scare with Jackson Dart. I don't know any updates because I didn't look into it, but he came back in and played the rest of the game. That was early in the game. He got an ankle.
That was first drive.
Yeah, ankle injury. Their backup QB came in, marched him right down the field, and they got points out of it. But then Dart played the rest of the game. So we'll see. I'm guessing he's probably going to end up being okay.
Yeah, I don't see any updates on it. I mean, he finished the rest of the game, so that's a good
so
sign.
he's probably fine.
Yeah.
So anyways, on the Ole Miss side, their defense absolutely dominated this game. Dominated Carson Beck, and they had QB pressure on them all night long. They forced interceptions, forced fumbles, and their defense won them the game. They made Carson Beck look silly. And, I forget where I was going. My train of thought just left the building.
Kaput.
But anyways, with all the defensive domination, Jackson Dart and the offense did enough, even though they weren't scoring touchdowns. They did enough to win them the game with lots of big plays to receivers down the field to get them to some easy field goals. But, yeah, that was pretty much that game. Ole Miss just came out and dominated and then stormed the field at home afterwards. It was quite the upset. Probably biggest upset of this week, if I'm thinking right.
I mean, Georgia had been looking, as far as like college football, Georgia had been looking pretty darn good outside of the Alabama game up until this point. And I think we all picked Georgia in this game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, how can you not? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ole Miss at home, they were they even got fined. Like, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars for tearing down the goalpost.
Oh, yeah.
Walking them out of the street. But
it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they were able to finish the game after they stormed the field early. I don't know how they got them off the field. Because they stormed the field early and then had to finish the game out. But, yeah, it was just a dominating win by Ole Miss.
Well, another stomping happened as well, but this time by the away team. That away team was number 11 Alabama. They beat number 14 LSU. It was 42-13. It was just kind of like the announcers were talking about. It was kind of what we'd seen all year from the LSU team. They've just struggled with athletic running quarterbacks. They struggled. They almost lost to South Carolina and Lenoris Sellers. He's a very athletic quarterback for South Carolina. They did lose to Texas A&M. Marcel Reed, whenever he was running all over them. And now they just got absolutely. It was a Jalen Milroe show is what happened here in the Bayou. Jalen Milroe, through the air, he was 12 of 18 for 109 yards, so nothing too great. But 12 carries for 85 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground with a long of 72 that really just put the dagger in him. Like, it was like he just went running by him like the whole defense was standing still. And basically, this game was so important because both these teams came in ranked or not ranked. Their records were 6-2. So basically, if you get that third loss, you're out of it.
Yeah, it
you're
seems like you might be out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds like that there are enough teams in college football that have 2 losses and are still good teams that are probably going to make the playoff. But if you have 3 losses, that's basically a death sentence. So LSU is now out of it. Alabama, my one takeaway for Alabama, because they're still in it and they still matter. I won't be betting on Alabama in any game. Like, I don't know what to expect from this team from week to week. We haven't seen any sort of consistency since Nick Saban left. Mm-hmm. I think they just ran into an LSU team that we all thought were good, but I think they just kind of had a bad day. And then Jalen Milroe took advantage. And then they just playing catch up the whole game, and Garrett Nussmeier couldn't get it done for LSU. But yeah, Alabama, like I said, I don't know what to take away from it, because there are some games where they're looking awesome like this, and Jalen Milroe can kind of do it all. He's always kind of had questions about his arm and the accuracy and everything, but I mean, if he's got the running game working like this, I mean, We've also seen it where it doesn't work, like lost to Vanderbilt, lost to Tennessee, where they could get like nothing going.
Hey, Vanderbilt's a good team.
Yeah, Vanderbilt. Are they still ranked?
That's what I was just looking at. Give me
I doubt it.
I think that they were down to.
They were 25.
Yeah, they were.
They're not now.
Yeah,
I figured.
Yeah. They must have lost.
I think they did lose.
But I mean, these past 2 weeks, Alabama has beat Missouri 34-0, and then they just won this LSU game 42-13. So looking dominant at the moment, and now they're gonna play a team called Mercer, not the Mercer that we live near, but a Division I, I think they're FCS team. But they kind of cruise into playoff because Oklahoma is after Mercer, and they don't look like anything special this year. And then Auburn, who is not playing very well either. So that's it for the regular season. So Alabama probably going to be, if all things go as they're expected to go, Alabama's probably just going to go cruising right into the college football playoff.
Yeah, they're sitting at number 10 now.
Yeah.
So they moved up a spot from last week. And I guess I could mention Ole Miss, the game we just talked about. After they were ranked 16 after beating Georgia, Ole Miss is now moved up to 11.
Hell yeah.
And Georgia, being number 2, they are now, they are number 12. That's a 9 position drop.
And Penn State's 4.
Penn State's 4.
They should not be 4.
Oh, that's crazy. I'm actually going to talk about Penn State later because I've got a little comp. But anyways, we'll get into some NFL, right?
Yeah. I was looking back at the college real quick, see if there were any more big upset games this week. There weren't. It seems like everyone who was supposed to win did win. The only one person who beat like a ranked team that was a bigger game, Kansas beat Iowa State. Iowa State was at 17.
They were undefeated, right?
They
had one loss.
They were 7-2.
Oh, well, now they're
ranked
17
and
skidding.
Yeah, and they are out of the top 25 now, which we knew might happen eventually. And also Virginia beat Pitt. Pitt was pretty hot there. Pitt's now 7-2.
Yeah, skid.
And yeah,
we mentioned on a previous episode that the Pitt was going to go through a gauntlet of the ACC, and they probably weren't going to make it out.
Yeah.
But SMU, who just absolutely crushed Pitt, is now up to...
They are now 14.
Yeah, SMU is... they might be in it.
Yeah, so big guns at the top right now.
Yeah, 'cause SMU's still undefeated, right?
SMU is 8-1.
Oh, okay, they lost one.
The undefeated teams as of right now are Oregon, 10-0.
Oh, yeah.
Indiana, Coach Sig.
Yep.
They're crazy. They're now 10-0. And BYU is 9-0. So top 5 rankings as of right now. Oregon 10-0, obviously. Ohio State 8-1 at number 2. Texas 8-1 at number 3. Penn State 8-1 at number 4. And Indiana.
Hell yeah, brother.
Sitting number 5 right now. So this college football season seems crazy right now. There's a lot of movement. I mean, I think we say it every year. I mean, we don't watch college as much, but we do pay attention a little bit to it, and there's always movement, and it's always crazy. But this year it seems like it's just elevated even more, whether that be because of this transfer portal or because of other reasons. But I saw people talking about that, too, about this transfer portal, as so many people were worried at the beginning of the season because they're like, oh, people can load their teams now and just be absolutely dominant. And the only real dominant one right now is Oregon.
Hell yeah.
Like, Oregon is...
And they weren't supposed to be.
No, they weren't supposed to be. And everyone else is, like, there's upset games and everything like that. So it's super exciting. And, yeah, college football is awesome. It's great. Let's get into the NFL.
I'm just going to very, very rapidly go through Week 9. Like,
go for it.
One sentence summary.
Yeah. I like it.
Texans, Jets, Houston sucks. Dallas, Atlanta, Dallas sucks.
Oh, yeah, they're bad.
Miami, Buffalo, actually close game, but Buffalo's just a better team.
Yep.
Las Vegas, Cincinnati. Cincinnati destroyed Las Vegas. Like, my God, Joe Burrow's good.
Joe Burrow's so good.
Los Angeles, Chargers, Cleveland. Cleveland sucks so bad. New England, Tennessee. Overtime game that no one watched. Washington, New York Giants. Washington's just a better team. Saints, Panthers. Who watched that game?
Good point.
Panthers
won though.
Yeah,
Panthers got to win.
Yeah, because
over
Bryce Young's on a tear.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, yes, we will.
Broncos, Ravens. Broncos can't play good teams. Except for, they weren't a good team. We're going to get into that.
Yep.
Jacksonville, Eagles. Eagles actually kept this close, but Eagles are so good. Mm-hmm. Bears, Arizona. The Cardinals are one of the best teams in the NFL. Lions, Green Bay. Green Bay's fraudulent.
True.
Rams, Seahawks. Jackson Smith and Jigba's the best wide receiver in the NFL. Colts, Minnesota. Minnesota's on fraud watch.
Yep.
Tampa Bay, Kansas City. Go for 2.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Yeah, that was really good.
That's it.
Now let's hit week 10, now that we know what happened in week 9. Week 10 was crazy. As every week is in the NFL.
Oh, shoot.
see
Bengals
Keep it rolling.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Bengals Ravens on Monday Night Football. I can go into a little bit more depth.
Yep.
Yeah.
This game was absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was.
There were no interceptions, but there were 4 touchdowns for each quarterback. Joe Burrow, 428 yards. Lamar Jackson, 290. He's a rusher, though. He's not a thrower.
That's
He's not a
crazy for
thrower.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Like, Lamar does not normally throw for
He
200
does
plus.
usually throw for a lot of touchdowns, though.
A lot of touchdowns,
efficient,
yeah,
yeah,
but not for
yeah.
290 yards.
Yeah.
So this game, back and forth all game. Well, actually, to start out the game, the Bengals were up 14-0.
Yeah.
And then at one point it was 21-14, and then the Ravens went ahead by, want to say, 2 scores, and then Jamar Chase had he had 3 super long touchdowns. He had a super
Career
long
game.
touchdown, and that brought him within 1 score. And then with like a minute left, Jamar Chase caught another touchdown for like 10 yards, and they went for 2. Like I just said for last week's.
Yeah, the Bucs.
The Bucs should have gone for 2. But the Bengals were like, let's go for 2. They went for 2. There were 3 penalties that weren't called on that play, so they
Yeah,
should have got it, and
pretty
the
obvious
Ravens
ones.
should have lost to the Bengals. So what I got out of this is the Ravens secondary is the worst secondary in the NFL.
It didn't
And
look good.
actually,
Yeah.
statistically, they are.
Oh, yeah. They
And,
were talking
like,
about that.
Jamar Chase had his way. Like, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 receptions.
He was open
If you
everywhere.
had him on your fantasy team, you won that week.
You won Thursday
only
night.
because of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're I believe it.
Case in point.
Yeah, this, like, I'm excited to watch George Pickens next week. We'll get into that, but my God, this Ravens secondary sucks. Their offense, though, is just, they score whenever they want. Mm-hmm. Like, they had to get a little warmed up. They had to get tackled a few times, get down in the trenches. But then once they were warm, they pretty much scored every possession. Like
They did. They finished out the game with 4 straight touchdown possessions.
And it was different because it wasn't on the back of Derrick Henry like it kind of has been.
Yeah. It
like
was-
Derrick Henry scored a touchdown.
Yeah, but Lamar Jackson was just doing anything he wanted. It was showing how many holes there are in that Bengals defense, which everyone knows. That's why they've lost 6 games now.
Yeah.
And
Definitely looking like the best, worst team in the league. Though.
yes, they
Yeah.
are.
By far.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've put up 30 points. They put 41 up last week and 34 this week.
Yeah.
And they went 1-1 in those 2 weeks.
Crazy.
Yeah, the Ravens, when they're hot, they're hot. When they're cold, they'll lose to the Raiders. Bengals, your offense is just as good. Well, pass attack at least. Mm-hmm. But your defense can't keep you in games, and that's your biggest issue. Everyone on the offensive side had a good game, except for rushing, which they're just
Right.
they didn't really have much of a rush game. They barely rushed at all. They rushed 16 times total. No, 16 times total.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hendrickson was causing a.
Yeah.
He was obviously being a problem, and I think
Yeah.
that's directly related to Derrick Henry's performance this game.
Yeah.
Only 68 yards.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened this game. It was just a shootout, and the better
was.
defense won.
It was the best Thursday night game.
Yeah.
It was probably the best game this whole week.
It was definitely the best Thursday night game all year.
By far
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
had. I'm trying to think of other games. I mean, there were other exciting games for sure.
Not as memorable
Steelers
as this
game.
one.
Yeah.
I
But
still
yeah.
don't know when T. Higgins is going to come back. I haven't heard any word.
I ain't too worried about it right now.
I mean, they could really. You could clearly see that Joe Burrow trusted 2 guys on this offense.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Chase Brown and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
True.
And, like, Chase Brown was targeted 11 times, had 9 catches, ran the ball 13 times, fumbled once. But, yeah, Jamar Chase, 17 targets, 11 catches, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. Are you kidding me?
Ridiculous.
And Joe Burrow had to throw the ball 56 times. So it's like, I mean, this is kind of – Cincinnati always has trouble rushing the ball, basically since Joe Burrow has come in. I don't know if they've ever had, like, a good
Because they don't have a
complementary
good
run game.
offensive line, and they
Yeah,
never have.
that's really it. But this Baltimore team is, whenever they're cooking, they're scary. They almost kind of remind me of like Lions offense. They can beat you on the ground. They can beat you through the air. The leading receivers in this game were Tylan Wallace
Yep.
took a long 84 yardage to the house off like a screen pass, basically.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman, they didn't even need Zay Flowers in this game. Didn't need Derrick Henry in this game. Deontay Johnson he did nothing. He's already pissed about it, which is so stupid. But yeah, Ravens, you said it right, Cletus. Whenever they're on, they're on.
Yeah, and Bengals are never on.
Defense isn't yet.
Defense is never on. Offense is always turned on.
Right. We'll move into a game that's basically the opposite of an offensive splash like that last game. But this game was in Munich, though.
It was.
Panthers.
Guten Tag.
Panthers are on a 2-game win streak now because they beat the Giants. Yeah, beat the Giants 20-17. Honestly, we'll start with the Panthers. Start with the good here. I admit saying this. I love watching Bryce Young because in these past 3 starts, at least,
It's like watching Kyler Murray.
I mean, they play kind of different ways, but
but I just mean how short he is.
Short, yes,
yeah,
short.
like
It's
a boy among giants.
Yes,
that's very true. He has been watchable though, which is nice.
Yes, past 3 games.
Because I mean, they have exciting people on that team.
They do. They do.
Like they have.
You're a Leggett guy.
They have my guy Leggett. They've got freaking Chuba Hubbard, who's a monster
Animal.
Yeah, and like they've got good guys on that team, but they haven't had a quarterback.
No.
You know who isn't able to be watched? Daniel Jones.
Yes.
You can't watch him.
Right. No. Okay. Well, yeah. We'll start with the Giants.
Yeah.
As a Daniel Giants supporter that I am,
Daniel Giants.
It is the Daniel Giants.
Daniel Jones supporter, like I am. I'm not gonna say I'm a believer. I was never a believer. I just supported because he's on my dynasty team.
Yeah.
So I had to try to talk him up.
Yeah. Talk yourself into it.
Not that I was ever gonna trade him, but like he's got tools, right? Well, I mean, let me just say this as a Daniel Jones supporter. The Daniel Jones era is over. It's done. It needs to be over. Please make it stop. He's on my dynasty team. Just let me cut him. I'm never gonna play him again. But I don't necessarily think they should go to Drew Lock though. We know what Drew Lock is at this point in his career.
He's nothing but a horsecock.
He's nothing but a horsecock, which is valuable in the showers.
Yes,
not really on the field.
True.
That'd be a lot of fines.
Yeah. A few.
But what I want to see is Tommy DeVito. Was he great last year? No. But the fan base was behind him. He's got that touchdown celebration, the ding, 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 like the Italian. Yeah.
There's so many Italians in New York.
Yeah, there is. He was born and raised. He's like a block away from the stadium.
Yeah.
Is where he, like,
New
right
Jersey.
there by MetLife. Yes. So, like, I want to see Tommy DeVito because he was a rookie last year. They didn't ask him to do a whole lot, but he got some wins to the team somehow. Yeah. I know quarterbacks he didn't exactly do too much for the wins, but the team rallied around him.
Atmosphere.
And, I mean, you got nothing to lose the rest of the season. I mean,
and the team's arguably better than it was last year.
Yeah,
offensive-wise.
Yeah. And, yes,
Malik
the
Neighbors
tools are there.
Tyron Tracy Jr.
Yeah, some quarterback who's getting drafted to the Giants. It's not. Offensive line needs to be fixed, like we've been saying about the Giants for like the
Except
past
for the fact they
forever.
kicked Saquon Barkley out the door. But
Yes. Yeah. Tyron Tracy looked really good.
He looks
in this game.
good enough. Yeah.
Outside of the first play of overtime where he fumbled the ball away to the Panthers, which led them. Panthers didn't even have to. They just ran 3 plays, kicked a game-winning field goal. But.
He just decided to do it for he did that one for Daniel Jones. He's like, oh crap, we're the Giants. We're supposed to be terrible at football. I got you, Danny.
Yeah.
And just give the ball to the other team.
But yeah, and get the Daniel Jones era over with, please. Put in Tommy DeVito. Maybe he creates a spark. You see what you have in the kid before you draft your franchise quarterback, or try to. But back to Bryce Young. I love watching Bryce Young. In the past 3 starts, this guy has had fun. Like, you watch the games, they zoom in on his face. He's out there smiling. Has he been perfect? No. Has he been lighting up the stat sheet? No, not at all. In this game, 15 for 25 through the air, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Only sacked once, though. 2 rushes for 30 yards, though, as well. So added a little bit with his legs.
No picks, so he's not giving the game away.
No picks, yeah.
Not losing them the game.
But, he's just out there. He's commanding the offense, which is growth, which is more than what we've seen in his first year and 2 games before he was benched. He's just seeing things through a whole new lens. He's just got a new appreciation for the ups and downs of the NFL, and he's a better quarterback because of it, because of all that, like, everything that they had to persevere through. You can kind of see that he's matured at least a little bit more now. He's still got a lot. He still needs to grow a lot, but I can see improvement. We'll mention Chuba Hubbard real quick because he is the offense. He just got an extension. because that happened between episodes of ours. He got a 4-year extension. Yes, it's confusing because they just drafted Jonathan Brooks, who we haven't seen yet, but he was the highest drafted running back in this past draft.
Yep.
And they're like, Chuba's been playing so well, which he really has. He really did earn a contract, but it just doesn't make sense from the team standpoint with Jonathan Brooks. Allegedly the future. But Chuba Hubbard, 28 carries, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. He's been great this year. I mean, on a team that has downright sucked, he's been amazing. Tyron Tracy in this game, 18 carries, 103 yards, 1 touchdown. He was great on the other side, too. A game full of shit, but there were some bright spots for sure. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right, going to another game full of shit.
Yeah.
Patriots were at the Bears. Oh, God, where do I start here?
Start shitting on your man, Caleb Williams. Because,
yeah, I will, because that man has been dog shit for the last 2 weeks, and it's almost like someone called that, and it was me. Because I never had faith in him, and he's just proven me right. He was coming out of college as this mobile quarterback that's supposed to make plays with his legs. He got sacked 9 times in this game. Yeah. I don't think mobile quarterbacks are supposed to get sacked 9 times.
By the Patriots.
By the Patriots of all teams. Drake May, he might be the future. He might be the future. He did have a pick, but that guy was playing really well if you actually watch the game. I'll just stick with the Bears here. You need new everything. They already fired their OC.
Yeah, Shane Waldron is gone.
Yeah. Matt Eberflus needs to be gone too.
Yes.
Caleb Williams needs to be gone too.
Just clean house.
Just clean house. Sell the stadium. Sell the team. No. They couldn't get anything going. There was no offense in this game for them. They had a field goal. That's it. Like everything else, there's nothing. There's no stat lines for anybody.
Yeah.
It's just blank.
Against the Patriots at home, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, it was bad. But hey, we'll just go to the Drake May show. 15 for 25, 184 and a touchdown and a pick. He just looked so good, and he was my boy coming out of college. I wish I could have drafted him. And on the ground, Ramondre Stevenson got 20 carries for 74. It's all right.
Yeah. It's good.
Antonio Gibson, 5 for 26. Pretty good. Drake May was also making plays with the feet because
as he has been since he started starting. Like he had 100 rushing yards both 2 weeks ago in week 9.
Yeah, him and Bo Nix just make plays with their legs. Like the two that you would least expect to.
Because they're white.
Yeah. Well, yes, exactly.
I listened to this one guy. He's like, we need to stop calling these white athletic quarterbacks sneaky athletic. He's like, that's just because they're white. Like they can be athletic white guys.
He's got a point.
Yeah, that is why they call them that.
Yeah, exactly. It's because they don't look it.
It's like Christian McCaffrey, sneaky athletic.
We don't even say this.
Cooper Kupp, sneaky athletic. He was throwing the ball to absolutely everybody. Austin Hooper, Demario Douglas, Keyshawn Boutte. Who the hell? 4 catches for 47 yards?
That guy who bet like $800,000 in college.
Oh, Yeah. Hunter Henry caught a ball. Jermichael Hasty. Ramondre Stevenson, Jalen Polk, the drop artist. And, of course, his only catch was for a touchdown. He doesn't deserve that. But, yeah, other than that, it was just field goals for them. But it didn't matter because their defense was absolutely murdering the Bears' offense.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing before we move on because there's not a whole lot to take from this game. It was a disgusting game, like you said.
Yeah.
But people are making I'm personally getting tired of people here not people here, but hearing people on other podcasts and just around the NFL universe, people like making excuses for Caleb Williams. The system wasn't the greatest, sure, but like we've seen quarterbacks do more with less. Look at what Drake May's doing. Is he in a better system than Caleb Williams? Absolutely not. Worse weapons.
For sure.
And like his offensive coordinator is not good either, but he's just making plays. He's making plays with the legs.
They got a first-year head coach there.
Yeah, seriously. And Caleb Williams, his receivers, you could argue coming into this year were like probably a top 3, top 5 wide receiver core.
We talked about it.
Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Romo Dunze. Like I don't care what your offensive system is. these guys, I can almost guarantee you,
They
are
get
getting
open.
open. They're
They get
getting open. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I say that, like, there are offensive coordinators who scheme guys open, but if you're a good enough receiver, you get open on your own. DJ Moore's been doing it his whole life.
Keenan Allen, too.
Keenan Allen. Yeah, like, these guys are getting open. Caleb Williams, you watch the games, he is missing throws. Are there some times, like, yeah, he shouldn't be getting sacked 9 times. Sometimes it's on the offensive line, but other times it's on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, you're holding on to the ball.
Yep.
So, like, stop making excuses for Caleb Williams. Like, we'll see if anything changes now with this offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, gone. But we got to stop making excuses, and just look at what's actually happening in front of us.
We were talking about, before the season started, about how he's going into the best situation that any rookie quarterback ever has.
That aged like
fine shit.
It did.
Well,
It
he probably
certainly
still
did.
was. He still was. He's just not good.
True.
It's on him.
Bills walked into the Colts' loud house and beat them 30-20. So, takeaway from this game, Josh Allen, still very good at football.
Yeah.
Obviously. Now, this wasn't his best game by any means, but it didn't have to be. On the other side of the ball, Joe Flacco, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going back to AR.
Yes, sir.
They're running it back to Anthony Richardson this upcoming week. That was just announced. Joe Flacco, sorry, buddy, back to the bench after your 3-interception game. I guess they just can't have it, but
Yeah, I don't disagree with it either. I mean, like, Joe Flacco's went in there the past 2 weeks. He's thrown for like 2.5, 3 interceptions a game. I mean, Anthony Richardson can do that.
oh, he for sure can do that.
He could probably do more interceptions.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, throw the young guy in. Let him learn.
Yeah.
Like, 25 starts in his college and NFL career. Like, he needs reps. So
Yeah,
I don't
might as well
disagree
throw
with
him
it.
in there.
As a fan of AR, I don't disagree.
True. Not biased at all.
No.
So the Bills team, they had some big plays. Mac Hollins had a pretty big game this game. Their run game was, at least seemed, very solid. James Cook was 19 for 80. Josh Allen added another 50 yards on 8 carries on the ground. They both had a rushing touchdown. So really, they were just pretty solid all around. Their receiving game, Mac Hollins was a standout this game, 4 for 86. Khalil Shakir was also 6 for 58. And then, of course, there are other guys still getting into the mix. Their tight ends and other backup guys. So the Bills team all the way around still looks like a super solid team and strong. This wasn't their strongest showing by any means, but that happens sometimes. But you still find a way to win and beat a team that you definitely should beat that's still struggling. And that team, it had some big plays, the Colts, and like had some decent drives, but just they get going and they get moving, and then those 3 interceptions we talked about by Joe Flacco just absolutely killed them. They couldn't get any success near the end zone. They couldn't recover from those miscues that they had, and they might have been able to recover the way they were playing with Joe Flacco, but when you got the Bills offense on the other side, and you got Josh Allen, it's not going to happen. Josh Allen will put the game in his hands if he has to, and literally carry themselves to a win. So the Bills are still just a good team, and the Colts obviously struggling putting back in Anthony Richardson. I don't think it's a bad move. I mean, at this point in the season, they're 4-6. Joe Flacco's been throwing picks. Yeah, throw AR back out there and hope for the best. I guess one standout for the Colts, though, before we move on too much, Alec Pierce had a big game.
What a season for him,
Yeah,
man.
he's having
revival.
a huge second-year guy.
He's been,
Yeah,
written
second
off
year.
because, no, third.
Third year.
Third year.
Because
he's
he
been-
started out slow. He came in as a fairly high draft pick.
Second round pick out of Cincinnati. Played with Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, started kind of slow, but now he's been, I mean, even last year he had some bigger games, but this year he's just been more consistent.
He was projected to be the wide receiver 4 on this team.
Yeah.
Adonai Mitchell was supposed to be the guy that replaced him. And Alec Pierce, he's like, you. I'm winning my job back. And he's played
As
really
he should.
well.
I mean, he's a good jump ball receiver. He's big. He's like
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5", but even A.D. Mitchell, like you just said, he had a big game.
Little breakout
for him,
game.
Little
Yeah,
breakout
yeah.
game. 6 for 71. So kind of bigger than he had. And, of course, Jonathan Taylor is still incredible. 21 carries for 114 yards.
I did my part.
He's been having a pretty big year overall. But, yeah, Buffalo on a roll, 8-2.
Yes, they are. Let's talk about a team that I think we need to start talking about for Fraud Watch. The Vikings went into Jacksonville. They only won 12-7. This was an ugly game.
it was
This was an
terrible.
ugly game.
Old Pittsburgh game.
Yes, it
was.
was. Mike Tomlin's looking on. He's like, hey, I like what you're doing there.
He was
Like
the
your
only guy
style.
watching this game.
Probably. He's like, this is a damn good game. Goes into the locker room. Fellas, you need to go watch that Vikings-Jaguars game.
It was gross.
Let me talk about the Jags first because
Yeah.
the Jags scored 7 points. Trevor Lawrence was out. It was the Mac Jones show. But if you're watching the game, the Jags uniforms looked like Penn State from a distance.
Exactly like Penn State.
I mean, they were black, but like they looked like they could be navy blue. The eggshell white helmets, the white pants, it looked like Penn State.
It did.
It did. And so did the offense under Mac Jones.
100%.
Also looked like Penn State.
Very true.
Let me explain that because I actually like put more thought into this, and I'm like, no, that's spot on. They were Penn State this week. They were Penn State. So just like Penn State, Jaguars were supposed to be able to rely on the run game with 2 solid running backs, but sometimes they just don't show up.
True.
Like in this game. And we see the same thing with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton with Penn State. Also,
True.
Leading receiver in this game was a tight end, Tyler Warren, Evan Ingram. An overall pretty stagnant offense.
Yeah, for sure.
But the defense actually showed up today. For the first time all season, Jaguars defense showed up. Now, Penn State defense is always good. Penn State defense, relative to like their competition, Penn State defense is way better than the Jags defense. But I got to give credit to Jags defense just for this game because Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson are no easy covers. But the Jags secondary actually, relatively held them in check to keep their team in the game. Like, they didn't, if you look at the stats, like, Hawkinson was the leading receiver, 8 catches, 72 yards. Justin Jefferson, 5 catches, 48 yards. Jordan Addison, 2 catches, 25 yards. Like, I know that, like, Hawkinson looks like he had a good game, but, like, relatively speaking, that's not bad to hold those 3 under, what is that, like, 130 yards or so.
I mean, just to hold Justin
yards.
Jefferson under 50 yards is
that,
insane.
Yeah, that's
that never happens.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying the Jags defense has finally figured it out. Like, no, they just had a good game. They will go back to being shit.
Yeah.
You can't. Jags are out of it. 2-8 now.
2-8. Yeah.
Mac Jones is starting again this upcoming week, so brighter fields are not ahead because Mac Jones, the one highlight for the Jaguars offense in this game was Mac Jones rushing touchdown. It was a QB sneak.
Yeah.
He plowed right up the middle and he was fired up, and then he threw 2 picks later in the game that were really bad. But
that's Mac Jones football.
That's Mac Jones football. But let's talk about the Vikings because, like I said, I think they're on fraud watch. What do you guys think?
Oh, I agree. They look so bad.
I mean, they won the game. It's like good teams win football games. They're 7-2.
Darnold threw 3 picks.
Yes, he did.
I mean, that's not really a normal, or that hasn't been his normal thing
this year.
This year, this year, yeah.
It's just one game.
Yeah, it is. That's what I was gonna get to. Also, like, it's just one game, so I don't think they're like on complete high alert, but they're definitely. That's just one of those things. It's like if they continue to be good, and then something else shows up again where they just crap the bed again. It's like,
They have been kind of. Sam Darnold's been slowly creeping into pumpkin mode, though.
Yeah, into old Sam Darnold.
For like the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I think they are on fraud watch, but only I talked about this one other episode where I talked about a Vikings game. I'm only worried about the Vikings if Aaron Jones is gonna miss time, which he was out of this game for a little bit, had to get checked out, and then he came back in. But I'm on the boat that I know, like, Isaac is he doesn't care about running backs. That's how a lot of the NFL feels like. And like, running backs don't matter. I'm on the boat that running backs definitely do matter. We've seen time and time again this football season that the running back, you can see a difference in them on like various teams. You see Bucky Irving is outproducing Rachaad White behind the same offensive line. You see guys like on San Francisco, like obviously Christian McCaffrey is a better performer than Jordan Mason, who has been good as well, but he's no Christian McCaffrey. Like, it does matter. We've seen Tyron Tracy outperform Devin Singletary. It does matter. You can't just throw any running back on a team that is historically good at running the football like the 49ers and then expect the same success. So here's my analogy. If the Vikings team as a whole were a car, Aaron Jones is the tires. He makes the whole drive easier, more efficient on gas. They get bigger plays, and it's smoother. Like he was on the Packers. We saw this with Jordan Love last year. That's whenever the offense picked up, whenever Aaron Jones came back. Yet, again, Aaron Jones, as soon as Aaron Jones gets injured in this game, running game is ineffective. You couldn't get anything from Cam Akers or Ty Chandler in this game. They were both running for, I think they ran for a total, it was like just over 50 yards on 17 carries, and Aaron Jones had 88 yards on 17 carries in this game.
Yeah.
Like, it does matter. The running back does matter. It makes the offense move, and if the running game is ineffective whenever Aaron Jones is out, that's more weight on Sam Darnold's shoulders to move the offense. Sam Darnold starts to look like the old Sam Darnold. He looks frazzled. He tried forcing passes to Justin Jefferson. All 3 of his interceptions were on targets to Justin Jefferson in this game. And it's just everything kind of runs through the running game. That's what makes these McVay, Shanahan-style offenses be easier for Sam Darnold, for Brock Purdy, for all these guys. Like, you need some kind of running game. And if Aaron Jones is going to miss any kind of time, I am worried about this team.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can only be coached so well. But Sam Darnold, he needs to – I feel like they're 7-2, sure. They're looking good if you look at their record. But, like,
Sure.
I feel like they're skidding on their ass cheeks, like, toward the finish line. Like, the end of the regular season cannot get here fast enough.
Yeah. That's a good point. I agree. It's kind of scary.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Broncos went into Kansas City and got beat on a last-second field goal by the
Field goal
Chiefs.
block,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, last-second field goal block.
Yeah.
Broncos were in line to win it. It felt like they were going to all game long. They were playing a super Sean Payton game. Like
Yeah.
that's what it felt like. Bo
Yep.
Nix was being efficient, and my boy Audric Estime is getting more time now.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great game, but he had like 17 carries.
14.
14 carries for like
14
53
carries.
yards.
Yes, that's right.
So he's getting more time, and this was just Bo Nix was 22 for 30, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. So like he's doing as he's done all year, as we've seen. He's being efficient. He's
A leader.
making that. Yeah, he's a leader. He's making that Sean Payton offense work. Audric Estime, I think, is just the biggest thing for me because he's my guy and has been my guy. I mean, I think he's in the door for that number 1 running back position, I think.
Oh, Sean Payton's already said he's earned more touches for next week. So it should be basically he is the guy for next week. Like,
Yeah.
forget Javonte Williams. That guy's toast. We talked about it many weeks ago.
Yeah. So that's super exciting. But anyways, the rest of the team, Cortland Sutton had a big game. He was 6 for 70, and the Broncos were just able to hold off the Chiefs all game long. They were holding them off. And then, of course, as it is, the Chiefs will find a way to win. A lot of people aren't happy, of course.
Including us.
Yeah, including us, because like this felt like they should have lost. The Kansas City Chiefs will finally get a loss, but of course, as they do, they find a way to win because Pat Mahomes, he threw for 266, but it didn't feel like he threw for that much. He only had 1 touchdown. Their running game was non-existent. It was terrible. Their running back had a better receiving game, if that means anything, just little dump-offs. And Kelsey had a bigger game, and Hopkins had some big passes. But the Broncos' defense, Sean Payton's defense, was able to hold them off all game long. And then, at the end, Chiefs find a way to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch that last play, it kind of looks like the Broncos let them block it. Because if you actually watch it, their blockers are all still hunched down while about 6 Chiefs defenders are jumping over them. When do you ever see that happen?
Yeah.
Not really typically
Unless
ever.
Vegas is in their pocket.
I don't know. I mean, the spread was like Chiefs to win by 8.5.
Yeah,
which
but
goes against-
what if you're
yeah.
betting money line?
That's true.
It's true.
That's
Yeah,
true.
because I was going to say, this is another Chiefs game. This is what they've been doing all year. They win by less than 1 score.
Yep.
They've done that damn near every single week. I think we talked about it the last episode we had.
Yep.
But, yeah, I guess that basically wraps it up. Bo Nix is looking pretty good, and the offense had a decent game, even though they didn't score many points. But that's because on the other side, Spagnuolo's defense is still incredible, and it's who keeps the Chiefs' offense in the games, able to win.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I mean, the game was exciting just because the Chiefs might have lost.
It was very
Yeah.
unlike Patrick Mahomes. He did not throw a pick this game.
It was not very Mahomey.
Yeah.
No, it really wasn't. This game showed that Broncos defense is legit. Not
Yeah,
that
they're
we thought
legit.
the Chiefs were great, but I mean, stayed in this game 5-5 now. They're not out of it either. Not out of the wild card race. I think they're right now. They are the 7th seed. The Broncos are.
I'd like to see
and
them make the playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll be talking power rankings next episode, but I mean, if the Chiefs they're 9-0 right now. Let's say they were 7-2. Like power rankings wise, like right now because they are 9-0, I think we probably all do. They feel obligated to put them at 3. But like if they were 7-2, I'd probably put them at 9, 10.
Yeah.
You could put them deeper. Yeah.
And if they didn't win the Super Bowl, last year, would we be saying that this is one of the worst 9-0 teams of all time? I think we might
probably.
be. Like, they're not. Let's just be honest. Yeah, they're winning games, and like people are gonna say, they just find ways to win, Jim. But like, it's not pretty, and it's barely working. Like, something's wrong.
I mean, that's definitely true. They definitely aren't the Bills' offense or the Lions' offense or
The Ravens.
the Ravens. Yeah, they definitely aren't those teams. They're just
The Steelers.
Commanders. We could keep going, but yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah. The Falcons are not undefeated in the division anymore because they lost to the Saints 20-17. This one stung me because I felt like a game that they should have won.
For sure.
I laughed when I saw this one.
Yeah, they're 6-4 now. Still 2 games up on the Buccaneers because the Buccaneers also lost, dropped to 4-6. The Saints are out of it. They're not going to make a run at the division, but Falcons, I'll start with them. I'm not worried about the offense. Kirk didn't even play bad in this game. He still threw for 300 yards, 23 for 38, 306 yards, 0 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Bijan looked amazing as ever. I seriously think that in the league, the 2 most talented running backs are Saquon Barkley and Bijan Robinson. Because we didn't get a chance to talk about the backwards hurdle that Saquon put on the defender. But it's like high school kids are going to be trying that everywhere. They're going to get their scrotum slit.
Oh, for sure. They're going to get their tailbone demolished by a helmet.
But Bijan is amazing. Darnell Mooney is looking like an absolute steal. I think he was signed for like a $13 million contract over the offseason.
It's cheap, yeah.
A very underrated receiver. Drake London having a great year too. Kyle Pitts is doing something again, but I'm not worried about this Falcons team outside of the fact that it's been the same story as all season with this team. I mean, you can't get pressure on the quarterback, and then a few deep shots against them by MVS.
They got MVS. That's all this is.
He's an animal.
He won't do anything for the next 5 games.
He will not. And that's the only thing that beat them. That was their 2 touchdowns. Were 2 long MVS touchdowns.
Yep.
And that was enough to beat them. But, I mean, the Falcons can't get any pressure on opposing quarterbacks. This secondary for the Falcons has been having to play like crazy to make up for very little D-line help. The Falcons are going to be fine. Like I said, just a few deep shots to beat them, but they got to figure out some way to generate pressure. I know that, and now we're past the trade deadline, and the Falcons didn't do anything. They have Matt Judon, who is trying to do everything himself, and it's not good enough. But not worried about him. But let's talk about the Saints, because this was kind of fun for them. I wasn't even super bummed by this, honestly, because it was just kind of funny. Right off the top, no long-term hope for this team, honestly. The receiver room right now might be the worst in the league. I know that they just beat the Falcons, but it was MVS who beat the Falcons.
This game was one that I honestly would have bet the Saints to win. This is a classic fired head coach game.
Yes.
The record of that over the years.
The interim coach bump.
Yes, exactly. That's been insane. So that combined with the MVS out of nowhere game that you get every now and then, mostly every then, because it doesn't happen very often, but those 2 combined, Falcons didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, honestly, the juju was all for them.
Yeah.
All the vibes.
So I'm not worried about the Falcons.
But, MVS. So they're receiving core right now because Chris Olave's on IR. We know that Rashid Shaheed is out for the year. They got Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They got, if you're watching this game, you basically, every time a Saints player catches a pass, you got to go to Google.
Pretty much.
Who the hell is that?
Yeah.
But Kevin Austin Jr. was another receiver for this team. We got Dante Pettis, who's been on, I swear, 10 teams by now.
Pettis.
A dude named Jordan Mims made a catch.
Marvin.
Not Marvin.
Dad's cousin?
It might be. We got Mason Tipton, the rookie from Yale, out there.
Okay.
Bud Means is also on IR. That's another guy that at least he was drafted at least.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, this is a bad receiving core. No hope for this team. But I just got to mention something about their interim head coach, Darren Rizzi. They got that.
He's a
head
dog.
Coach bump. He's awesome. Here's some really, really good quotes from his press conference after the game. They're kind of long, but they're very much worth it.
We got to preface this if people don't know. He was the special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
And those guys are normally pretty awesome.
They're
so go ahead. Yeah,
we
seriously
know
awesome.
the Steelers.
Oh, my.
The Steelers.
Danny Smith.
Yes, he's a wild man. But
there's a lot of great special teams coaches out there.
Yeah, but he said, quote, "I'm a pretty open guy. This is how my day started. I get down here to the Superdome. I go to the head coach's locker room, which I've never used before because he's never been the head coach.
True, yep.
He's like, here I am. Early in the morning, I go to the bathroom. This is how my day started. I clogged the toilet. And I go, this is in the post-game press conference. It's like, I don't even know. I don't know what the question was leading up to this, but then he goes on. He said, and I go, this is going to be a crappy day, pun intended. And I'm like, this is not a great start to the day. I'm not really feeling like the head coach of an NFL team right now. And then he said, while the Saints team was celebrating, this was like before the Falcons got the ball back, and they had a chance. They had a chance to like go down and win or tie the game. I can't remember. Did this game end on a Koo missed field goal? I feel like it did.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, it did. Like when Younghoe Koo's been.
He's been so solid.
Solid and then also hit or miss.
Yeah, very hit or miss.
Oh wait, he did miss. He missed 3 field goals in this game, but it didn't end on that. They turned it over on downs. Because it was a stupid. It looked like a Dak Prescott like like the timing was all messed up. Anyways, let's talk. He said, talking about Peyton Turner, he was all fired up. He's one of the edge rushers on this Saints team. This is what Darren Rizzi said. He said, quote, he was spraying water, so I ripped his ass, quite frankly. So when the game was over, he wanted to get me back. So he came up to me, and I wasn't looking, and he jacked me in the back. And I've got a history of stingers, so my left arm went completely numb. Literally went completely numb. I was grabbing him like, Peyton, are you fucking kidding me? I'm happy too, but holy cow, it's all good.
Oh, I love this guy.
What a stallion.
He's
he's
funny,
great.
Man. Yeah,
he's great. I hope he wins some more games, but not enough to beat the Falcons out for the division. But
Yep.
Yeah, great story.
It is a good story. Okay.
Moving on to the Niners Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
CMC's back.
Yep.
He is.
He is
back. Actually back.
Officially this time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, on the ground, he really didn't do much. He had 13 carries for 39 yards. It was all right. Receiving, though, he had 6 catches for 68 yards. So he's more of a wide receiver anymore.
Yeah.
But, this game ended 23-20 with the 49ers winning. And the main story of this was not about Christian McCaffrey. It was about Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
That man is a dog.
Mm-hmm.
He went
pretty good.
25 for 36, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. That guy's just an
That's the Brock
animal.
Purdy we know and love.
It is. Ricky Pearsall had himself a game, 4 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown.
That boy,
A
Ricky.
big touchdown.
Yeah,
Big touchdown. George Kittle, 3 for 57 and a tutty. Juwan Jennings, 7 for 93.
He's back.
Yeah. Deebo Samuel loves to hate the long snapper.
Because Jake Moody also missed 3 field goals.
And he blamed the long snapper.
Got him by the neck.
Jake Moody was like, huh? All right. It's his fault. Yeah.
I guess thanks, Debo. Yeah.
But, yeah, their defense played well. It's like what you expect from their defense this year. Like, hold them to 20 or below.
Yep.
That's usually what they do. Mm-hmm. Their offense was pretty much just all Brock Purdy. Only getting 23, but this Bucs defense is nothing to be slept on.
They fight.
Yeah, they do. Bucs side, Baker Mayfield didn't have a great game.
No.
He only went 18 for 29, 116 yards, and a touchdown. It just wasn't pretty by him. Bucky Irving, though, is an animal.
Yeah.
13 carries, 73 yards, 3 catches, 14 yards. Dude's just a stud. He also had a rushing touchdown. He's the number 1 running back in this backfield. He shows it week by week.
Yep.
Let's just go by the average this week. Bucky Irving, 5.6 yards per carry.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Rashad White, 3.1.
Ooh,
Yeah.
not very good.
The only guy watching this game, the only guy who could tackle Bucky Irving all game was Fred Warner, which
Makes sense.
Makes
He
sense.
can tackle
Yeah, it
everybody.
checks out.
Yeah.
He's allowed. He's allowed to. Yeah, the weirdest part about this whole Bucs offense this week, Rashad White was the leading receiver.
Yep. It's all running backs in this game.
Yeah, that's all it was. Rashad White, 6 for 39 and a touchdown receiving.
Yeah.
It's just goofy. Your top 2 wide receivers are out, and you're throwing to Ryan Miller
Yep.
and Raheem Jarrett.
Yep.
It's just, their offense is just
this was
flatlined at this point.
Yeah, this was bound to happen for the Bucks.
Yeah,
I mean, Baker's gonna have these games whenever you're down that many guys.
Yeah, you have to now. Basically what this new Bucks offense consists of is Bucky Irving and Rashad White sharing a backfield and getting checkdowns. And if the defense says, okay, we're going to stop that, and they try to throw it deep, nothing's good's going to come from that because your receiver can't catch it or create space. Yeah. So that's pretty much what happened in this game overall.
God bless you. That was a good one.
That's also pretty much just what happened. Like you sneeze, and then the 49ers won, but in a close game.
Yeah.
But mostly because of Bucky Irving.
It honestly feels like a win for the Bucks that they even kept it close.
It does. Like it gives hope for next year.
They're fighters, man. They're fighters.
They are.
I don't know how they do it every week.
Feisty. All right, the Steelers moved to 7-2. They go to Washington and beat the Commanders 28-27 in a super exciting nail-biter game. Came down to the wire, but Steelers came out on top, of course. Russ, George Pickens, and that whole offense is looking great, and they're clicking like they haven't before. They somehow keep getting a little bit better each week, which is great to see. Run game still solid enough for what it should be. Jalen Warren had 66 yards. Najee, not as many, but that'll happen with Najee. Still had a touchdown and still had some big conversions. That's kind of Najee's. He'll occasionally break them off, but this Washington defense, like we've talked about all year, they've proven to be better than everyone thought they might be at the beginning of the year.
He had the jeans back on for this game.
He did, but you'll have that sometimes. So Steelers' offense is looking pretty good overall. I mean,
clicking.
Yeah, they're clicking. That freaking moon ball by Russ.
Yeah.
George Pickens still catches everything. He has. I don't know how.
His catch radius is within 5 yards, while the ball is like 2 yards away from him.
Yeah, his body control and like movement, how he can switch from one side to the other and still track the ball. It's second to none in the league.
Did he like do gymnastics as a kid?
It would make sense if he did.
It would make sense.
He's
so bendy.
This is a tangent, but like I know Joe Rogan talks about this boxer. I forget his name, but this boxer's dad made him go to gymnastics for like 3 years before he went into boxing, and because of that, he had the best footwork of all time.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so you have great body control. Maybe football players should do that.
Lynn Swann, Steelers legend, wide receiver, he did like ballet or dancing to be better on his feet.
Yep.
He legit did that.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah, they had a good game. They're all clicking. And then, of course, Mike Williams, I think maybe his only catch of the game.
It was his only one.
Yeah, it came in at the end for that go-ahead touchdown. Had a great catch. I mean, it was an incredible catch. We're talking about
throw, too.
Yeah, beautiful
perfect
throw on the
perfect
money,
throw.
right to the corner of the end zone.
On the run.
Yeah, on the run by Russ. Russ Wilson is looking closer and closer to prime Russ Wilson every week. And if they keep playing like this, it's scary. They're looking pretty good. Now, on the Commanders' side, Jane Daniels, for playing the Steelers' defense, he played okay. He played a pretty good game, and the offense was able to keep up with the Steelers, and they had some big plays, and their run game wasn't really anything great, but it really hasn't been all year. But Jane Daniels and specifically Terry McLaurin, they're both having a great year, and Scary Terry had another great game. 5 receptions, 113 yards, and Jane Daniels threw for 200 yards on 17 attempts, or 17 completions on 34 attempts. So that completion percentage isn't great, but like I talked about, for playing the Steelers defense, who's just wreaking havoc on just about everybody this year, to keep it close like this was pretty great. And as far as concerns for people like the Commanders just had some big miscues. The O-line broke down, allowing some big sacks and pressures this game, which you'll have with the Steelers O-line.
Yeah.
For the Steelers, the secondary is still clearly their struggle point, and Joey Porter had
his worst game.
Yeah, uncharacteristically. I tried to use a big word to sound smart.
Damn it.
He had a bad game, probably his worst game of his career, but I'm not worried about it. It's Joey Porter Jr. That's going to happen every now and then. And Terry McLaurin's very, very good. You're going to get cooked.
Another key takeaway from this is the Steelers were a trick punt and a worn fumble away from being 2 scores up.
Yeah, they tried to do a fake punt on their own, like 15 or 20.
Well, no, they didn't. It wasn't called for a fake punt, but what you saw was the corner came in and just left the wide receiver completely wide open.
Yep.
So they said, throw him
Might
the
as
ball.
well,
All
yeah.
you're doing is playing catch.
Yeah.
And
the dude dropped it.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
have you ever caught a ball in your life?
Yeah.
He plays corner, so
probably not. It's all right. But yeah, that's a good point. That would have been a big. I mean, if they would have just punted that thing, there's a good chance Commanders wouldn't have scored.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have, because other than those two plays, like, you got to think the Steelers probably would have won by 15.
Yeah. Honestly, they probably would have. Yep. And their defense, aside from their secondary, because their secondary was rough, T.J. Watt still shows up when you need him most. That's he didn't do anything like all game, was getting chipped all game. And then, of course, towards the end of the game, they decide to leave him one-on-one a few times, and he just makes the most of it. Cam Hayward, he had a big game.
Huge
Yeah,
game.
huge game.
That was the first 2-sack game by a 35-year-old defensive player since 2017.
Yeah, he had a great game. Highsmith was back, so that's good.
Now he's gone.
Yeah, now he's gone. But
but Herbig's back next week.
But Herbig's gonna be back. Yeah. So overall, Steelers team is looking like don't look now. They're looking like a real team and one of the top contenders in the league.
Just wait till we can have a healthy second edge rusher.
yeah.
Or at least one that stays healthy, because they just keep flip-flopping.
They got Preston Smith now too.
Preston Smith.
He's looking pretty good.
He had a hell of a game.
Yep, he's looking good.
He had a sack in this game as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yep, Steelers are looking good. Commanders, I'm not too worried about them. They ran into the Steelers defense, and
Patrick Queen, hell of a game,
yeah,
too.
Patrick Queen had a good game. So
Finally.
as long as they still got Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry, I'm not too worried about the Commanders. Jaden Daniels will bounce back, and he didn't do anything for me to think otherwise.
And we learned from the Steelers, like, if your star, like, players on defense don't shine, then there's other stars on the defense that are going to shine. There's, like, 6 really good players. So, like, if 2 of them don't show up, the other 4 will.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep. And this is why, one more thing on the Steelers, why whenever people would question, why are we bringing in another edge rusher?
This is why.
This is why.
This is why.
You need to be deep there to make a deep run.
They love to roll their ankles.
Yep.
We'll talk about another great defense because I think the Chargers are there. They've earned their way there. Chargers won against the Titans 27-17. We know the Titans are bad.
Yeah.
And let me go on a little rant about the Chargers because I'm tired of hearing people say like yes, the Chargers are 6-3, but let me just talk about who they've won, because I still don't fully believe in the Chargers. I know it's kind of disrespectful at this point, but here's the teams they beat this season. Maybe you can see where I'm coming from. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Panthers. The Broncos is their best win. The Saints, the Browns, the Titans. Like,
that's a weak schedule.
Yeah.
that's a pretty weak schedule. And here's the teams they lost to this season: the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Cardinals.
3
Makes
juggernauts,
sense.
except for one.
Right. The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Damn straight.
And here's their next 6 opponents. So I think that this is going to really tell me, like, if they can win some or most of these games, like, then I'll actually start believing in what the Chargers are doing here. But they play the Bengals this week on Sunday Night Football. Should be a good game, I think. Then the Ravens, then the Falcons, then the Chiefs again, then the Buccaneers, who are fighters, like we said, and then the Broncos again. So, like, we're going to see really what the Chargers are. Like, yes, their defense is legit. I do believe in what they're cooking on defense, but they just don't have talent on offense. And they're
Lad McConkey.
Yeah, Lad McConkey is a rookie slot wide receiver who takes short routes.
Is sneaky athletic.
Sneaky athletic because he's white. But
Gus Bus is going to be back.
he is back.
Yeah.
He went 10 for 55 in this game. J.K. Dobbins went 15 for 50 in this game. He's just not as efficient as he started out the year, J.K. Dobbins, I'm talking about.
Yep.
So it does help to have Gus back in there. But, I mean, you just talked about this beginning of the year. You just go up and down the list of this, like, offensive roster. Like, whenever they're going to go up against a good defense finally, who's going to show up? Because they're running backs.
True.
J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, like, that doesn't really give me a whole lot of hope. But it's like, okay, well, then let's talk about our passing game. Justin Herbert has been playing out of his mind the past 4 or 5 weeks. He's been playing great, but Lad McConkey's your number one receiver. Josh Palmer ain't done shit. Your number one tight end is Will Dissly, who before this year has just been a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnston, for some reason, every single week, because they're playing bad defenses, there's some kind of blown coverage and he's running down the sideline for 70 yards. Like, it's just not going to happen against the good teams. And so I still think they're kind of frauds, even though they're now 6-3 and they're like the 5 seed or something. I just want to see them do it against a good team, and they're lucky that their schedule has been like this up to this point. I am very excited for that Bengals game. Let's talk a little Will Levis, though.
I'm gonna put the
Do we
credit for
have
the Chargers.
to?
I'm gonna
Yeah, go
put the
ahead.
credit for the Chargers on Joe Alt.
There you go. There you go.
Sneaky athletic.
Yeah.
Sneaky
6'9".
6'9".
Yeah. Talk about Will Levis a very little bit. Because Will Levis finally learned how to not turn the ball over, but he did take 7 sacks because he was hanging on to the ball, and he just didn't want to take he didn't want to throw the ball to the defense. So he's like, I'll just hold on to the ball and take sacks, which he took 7 sacks, which isn't that great either. But Will Levis,
Better than an interception.
it's better than an interception. Didn't turn the ball over. I mean, he went 18 for 23, so didn't pass a whole lot, but 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It was pretty stagnant all day
Say
long.
18 for 23.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just playing like Bill
Efficient.
Levis.
Bill Levis, but he also 5 carries for 41 yards on the ground. He had one beautiful pass to Calvin Ridley in the first quarter for a touchdown that put them up a 7-0, and then they just couldn't get anything going. They had a garbage time touchdown at the end. But Will Levis, I mean, Titans they have everything to lose, I guess, but they have all the games to lose. They have
Definitely.
nothing to lose as a franchise. I mean, just
Definitely.
keep Will Levis in there and see if he grows anymore. I mean, I just want
Yeah.
this guy just keep leaning on that rushing ability. I know that's how he got hurt. That's how he hurt his shoulder and missed so many games this year. But he, in my mind, like, he reminds me of, or Drake May reminds me of him. He reminds me of Drake May, whichever way you want to play it. But, like, as far as just physical abilities,
Yeah.
Drake May, big arm. We've seen his rushing ability, and he's leaned into that. Drake May has. I want to see Will Levis lean into that. Dude is built like a Mack truck
He's
out
huge.
there.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not good at playing quarterback, but use your body and just go run like Drake May has been. Yeah, you don't have great weapons. Your offensive line isn't great, just like Drake May. Go run the ball. Like, just go try to make plays with your legs, because your upper legs are not the best.
True. Your top legs.
Top
aren't
legs,
good.
yeah.
He is throwing with feet.
He's throwing with feet. Yeah, basically.
That's probably the problem.
Yeah. But that's really it in this game.
Man's got 20 toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this, as far as their schedule,
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of like the same thing that worries me about the Steelers.
Oh, you're talking about Chargers?
Yeah, the Chargers schedule.
Because
Yeah,
Steelers are
the Chargers schedule gets tough. So does the Steelers, which is one thing I didn't talk about. But like, I'm not as concerned as for the Steelers as I was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as concerned.
Steelers
But
play coming up.
they play the
Ravens.
AFC North.
Yeah, Ravens,
They're winning.
Browns, not worried about. Bengals
Winning.
should be a close game.
Winning.
Browns again.
Winning.
Eagles,
Losing.
Ravens,
Losing.
Chiefs,
It'll be close.
Bengals again.
The thing about those last
Okay,
two
yeah, I
games.
don't feel as bad, I guess.
thing about those last 2 games is the Chiefs might already have the number 1 spot locked in,
Very good possibility.
and Joe Burrow might just sit that one out if they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, they're 4-6. So
I don't know. I think they try to play spoiler. It's a division rival. You
That's
don't let
true.
anybody
I
get
think-
into the
yeah, I
playoffs.
think so.
But
play.
do you risk your quarterback getting in the MCL tear?
Yeah, probably.
Not with Joe Burrow's history.
I don't know. I
would.
guess we'll
Weird.
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Bengals could very well be fighting for a playoff spot.
They could
could
be.
be.
They
They could
very
go
well
on.
could be.
Yeah.
Their Bengals right now are 9 seed, 8 seed. Like, they're right there.
Yeah.
But they do have a loss to the Steelers coming up, and it's scary for them. Moving on to Jets Cardinals. My boys, the Cardinals, they smacked the Jets around 31-6. My God.
Yeah.
Trying to put Rodgers into retirement.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. So I'll just start with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, he went 22 for 35 for 151. That's it. Just that.
Kind of typical Rodgers stat line. Not very much.
This year.
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just actually that's exactly that's probably an exact stat line from Deshaun Watson this year. Actually,
Yeah.
it might be.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
Honestly, yeah.
That's a Deshaun Watson stat line,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what this game was like. Brees Hall, couldn't really get anything going, only 10 carries. Braylon Allen couldn't really get anything going, only 7 carries. Their offense was super stagnant. This Cardinals defense, at the beginning of the year, I thought it was one of the worst in the NFL. Yep. They're looking pretty decent.
Pretty stingy.
Yeah. Buda Baker's a dog.
Yeah.
Buda Baker is a dog.
Yeah, I can't believe how good this Cardinals defense is doing. And yeah, this Jets offense just can't click.
And
they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and how bad the Jets defense is doing. They were supposed to be good.
Yeah.
They let up 31 points to the Cardinals.
when you fire your defensive minded head coach, it doesn't help. I'm not going to put it fully on the defense because we've seen what they could do.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like the Jets are running a play when they should be passing. They should be passing. They're running. It's like they do everything backwards. And I don't like... The Jets' season's done. Like, we all know that at this point. They're 3-7 and have no hope. Cardinals, however.
Yeah.
My boys, sitting at 6-4.
Yep.
Kyler Murray, he only missed, hear me out, he only missed 2 passes this game.
Yeah.
He went 22 for 24.
It's Jared Goff level stuff before this week. We'll get to that game.
266 yards and a touchdown.
That's pretty good.
Dude's a stud.
I do love watching him play.
Yeah.
And partly because it's funny to see him run because he's so short. But
he doesn't cut, he swerves.
There's no sharp cuts.
There are no sharp cuts.
His steps are so short that he physically can't
You
make
ever
a sharp
notice that
cut.
he uses his torso as a rotor?
Yes.
Well, he leans.
That's why I like to watch him play. I think he always keeps good ready to throw form when he runs. And
he has a baseball runner form.
Yeah, he does.
Which is why he got drafted.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But on the ground, Trey Benson breakout game. I've been saying it from day one. Start Trey Benson. 10 carries, 62 yards. What did James Conner do? 12 carries for 33. Why did he get the goal line? Because Trey Benson did all the work to get down there, God damn it. And he got James Conner got the damn touchdown.
James Conner was tired from catching passes. Give him a break.
He did catch 5 for 80, but
pretty good.
That's only because there were Garden Marv, who caught 5 for 54 and a tutty, and Trey McBride, 4 for 71. Animals.
Trey McBride's so good.
Trey Benson also had 2 for 25 through the air. He's just a stud all around. He's kind of the best running back in the league.
Kind of something we see out of Patrick Mahomes.
Kind of something we see out of Carson Steele. Buda Baker, as a safety, had a sack. He's a stud.
He's
just been having a quiet hell of a year.
Yeah.
Sneaky athletic.
Very.
Actually, not sneaky athletic at all. Just you can see
athletic.
it. You can see it in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cardinals were just doing whatever they wanted on offense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Kyler Murray had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. He just loves to get rushing touchdowns for some reason. But Jets defense looks like shit without Robert Saleh, and their offense looks like shit since the week 1. So yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta, like you said, just a testament to this defense. Let me tell you the pressure leaders on the year for the Cardinals, and we can see how many of these guys you guys have actually heard of.
Okay.
The number 1 pressure leader for the Cardinals defense, this is just a testament to Jonathan Gannon and what he's doing with this team. L.J. Collier, okay?
Nope.
Never heard of him.
Zaven Collins was a former first-round pick.
I do know him.
Dante Stills.
Nope.
Roy Lopez.
George Lopez?
Yes. Dennis.
I've heard. Is he brothers with Robin Lopez?
No. No. That's a. Oh wait.
Yeah, he does have a brother.
Yeah, it's
Brooke Lopez.
It's Brooke Lopez. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
NBA guys.
I guess it is NBA season.
Dennis the
Who
Barbarian Gardeck.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh, I know Gardeck.
Yeah.
He's
Jesse Lukita, Naquan Jones. I could go on for hours and hours, but this is. Yeah, it's been great what this team has been doing. 6-4, baby, leading the division.
They do look good. 4 wins in a row for that Cardinals.
Who would have thought? This team, the Eagles, baby, just beating up on the down bad Cowboys, 34-6. They went into Jerry Land and beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys were without their
$60 million quarterback.
Yes, Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb doesn't want to be there.
Yep.
The sun is in their eyes all the time.
Yep.
Let's build a stadium east to west.
Yeah. Jerry just refuses. He's like, yeah, the sun is there every game. It's like, there shouldn't be a problem. And apparently, whenever they have concerts there, they put up a They put up a curtain to cover that.
Doesn't surprise
for
me.
Some reason that for football games,
Who cares
they don't
about
do that.
football? Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not the reason they lost this game. They lost this game because they suck.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are not good. They have a few pieces here and there that just names that deserve mentioning.
Oh, yeah,
But
they do.
as far as for the rest of them, it's basically nothing. Trayvon Diggs is like he's been exposed. He's been exposed basically since he had that big interception year. Everybody's like, hang on a minute, this guy isn't actually that good. Right? He kind of isn't. But DeMarvin Overshown, I talked about him a few weeks ago. This guy was all over the field in this game. He was like the lone bright spot. Micah Parsons finally came back. He had 2 sacks. He had a good game.
Huge game.
Huge game. But that's basically it on the defense.
Yeah.
And then on the offense, you got CeeDee Lamb, and that's it. Turd Ferguson. Jake Ferguson he's pretty good for a tight end. But
Yeah.
that's enough talk about the Cowboys. Now they're going to be starting Trey Lance, though. Trey Lance is getting the shot because they got nothing to lose. They're 3-6 now. But the Eagles have looked scary. You don't want to play the Eagles right now because A.J. Brown, 5 receptions, 109 yards. Jalen Hurts, he did what he had to do. He ran for 56 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then he threw 14 for 20, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was even sacked 5 times. Thank you, Micah Parsons. Not all 5, but Micah Parsons was a big part of that. Yeah. Saquon Barkley, 14 carries for 66 yards on the ground as well. This Eagles team, they are crushing right now. They're looking they're going on like a Lions-style tear right now. Now, I know that we've talked about it. The Cowboys are not good. But for the Eagles, my takeaway is that if they can just keep Sirianni in the background, good things happen. If Sirianni is not a main character on this team, or if Sirianni is a main character on this team, bad things happen. Like,
Sure.
You haven't heard anything about Sirianni these past few weeks where the Eagles have been playing well. I think there's kind of something to that. Like
Saquon just needs to keep jumping over people backwards.
Yes,
And then they won't talk about Sirianni.
Exactly. Yeah. This team has to go out of their way to make crazy plays just so that they don't show Sirianni.
He's I don't know.
I love him. I love him.
I love Sirianni too. I love him. I absolutely love him.
He's bad for the football team.
But he's
the
great
I don't
for the
give a
internet.
shit.
Yeah, me neither.
But the Eagles right
He's
now.
perfect for Philadelphia.
He
He really is.
so perfect for Philly.
But just stay out of the Eagles' way right now. They're on a tear.
They are. All right, last game of the week.
Well, no,
sorry.
Sunday.
No,
Last game
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, last game of whatever. You
Sunday
get it.
night.
Sunday night football.
Yeah.
The Lions beat the Texans 26-23, even though Jared Goff decided to throw it to the other team more than his own team, it felt like.
Yeah.
Jared Goff ended up with 5 picks this game.
Who would have thought?
And the Lions still won just because this just proves the Lions are still the juggernaut. They're still incredible. No one with 5 interceptions should still win a football game. But Jared Goff is that guy, I guess. On this Lions side, we were talking about running backs earlier and how they're super key to this game. Freaking Jahmyr Gibbs is just... He seems like he makes plays every time he's got the ball in his hands. He's just incredible and has clearly taken the number 1 role and is just electric every time he gets the ball. Sam Laporta had a big game. Amon-Ra eventually had a big game. He was quiet early. But like I said, Goff ended up with 5 picks, but he was 15 for 30, so also very not good. But 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, just uncharacteristic of Goff. But when you got Jake Bates, that dog in the backfield,
That's crazy.
he probably
Brick salesman.
Yeah, brick
Yes.
salesman. He won the game for him too. Huge clutch field goals. I think
You see how close that?
I think he was aiming for each upright.
Both
He
of them.
first got one on the right side and then overcorrected and just snuck in the winning field goal on the left side.
I swear it must have
I don't know-
just touched.
I don't know how
it
it
was
did.
so close.
Yeah.
Great story, too, from the UFL.
Oh yeah.
I kind of want a Jake Bates jersey.
He's a dog.
He's great.
He is a dog. And the Lions defense, they had enough to slow down Stroud and Mixon of that Texans offense. I think since we didn't have a podcast last week, I'm getting confused about when the picks were had. I was thinking the Lions had a pick, but it don't.
I don't believe so.
Nope, sorry. I was thinking of the other week. Carlton
Oh wait,
Davis.
no, yeah. There were 2 picks. Yeah,
Okay,
Carlton Davis
had 2.
had both of them.
Yeah, had 2.
Yep, that's right.
So that was a good game by them, and that's what helped them win this game. On the Texans side, it's a little concerning, as it kind of has been. But honestly, Stroud is starting to pick it up. Like, it doesn't look like it because they lost. But Stroud is starting to pick it up from what he was doing. He was 19 for 33, 232 yards, a touchdown, but he had 2 picks, like we just mentioned. So their whole offense played fairly okay.
The first half.
Yeah, the first half. Mixon's still a guy. He's still a dog. Stroud played okay, and their defense is legit. To slow down a juggernaut and have 5 picks against the Lions, their defense is D'Amico Ryan's defense, of course, still good. But the Texans just continue to struggle having continuous success on offense. Like, they can't continuously put stuff together. But that's also to do with they're still missing their weapons. I think they're getting Nico Collins back soon.
Yes, this week, I think.
Yeah, so that should help. But I'm not overly worried about the Texans, even though they're now, I guess they're still sitting at 6-4. But they haven't looked great. But I think it's only on the up and up for the Texans coming up, and obviously for the Lions. Had 5 picks, still won. No concern at all.
They should have won this game. The Texans I'm talking about, they at halftime, it was 23-7. They were up on the Lions.
Lions didn't do anything in the first half. They had a touchdown, but they had nothing until the second half.
It wasn't looking good for the Lions. It was like, oh my gosh, who is this Texans team? And then they really puttered out in the second half.
Yep.
And the Lions came roaring back.
Yep.
Dan Campbell was biting them kneecaps.
He was.
Hungry.
All right, ending out the week on Monday Night Football was kind of a shitty game.
Yeah.
Dolphins beat the Rams 23-15.
Upset.
Yeah, it was an upset. The Rams couldn't get anything going on offense. Matthew Stafford, he almost threw for 300 yards, but he had a pick and no touchdowns.
They didn't score any touchdowns at all in this game.
No,
that's 5 field goals.
Yeah, that's 5 field goals. No touchdowns. It was. I'll just stick with the Rams. Kyron didn't do much of anything. 15 for 62.
Should have had a touchdown catch.
He should have had a touchdown catch, but Matthew Stafford's teeth got in his vision. Puka, 9 catches, 98 yards. It's a good Puka game.
Yeah.
Yes, it is,
Cooper Kupp, 7 for 80.
I did my part.
Pretty good game.
Yeah.
Those two did their parts, and that's about it. Yeah. That's pretty much all this offense was. They just couldn't get it done. Like, in the red zone, they could not get it done. This Dolphins defense, they're playing how they were playing while Tua was injured. Their defense played well while Tua was injured. Mm-hmm. Now they were like last week, we're gonna play with you a little bit. Just let them have a shit ton of points. See if you can keep up. They did. They kept up with the Bills last week.
They did.
Now and then their defense this week was like, all right, now that we can see that you can still play and you're not completely brain dead, we're actually gonna help you out here and keep these guys from getting even a touchdown. And this Dolphins defense was just destroying them in the red zone. Offensively for Miami, he didn't look too bad. I mean, Tua went 20 for 28, 207, a touchdown and a pick.
Tua also had a tackle.
Tua also led with his head for a tackle. Yeah. That was...
You'll have that.
Like,
what the hell are we doing?
It makes you wonder.
He's just a football guy.
Yeah,
I mean, if you really think about it, he's getting paid a shit ton of money. That's probably the way he's looking at it.
Get my money's worth.
He is getting his money's worth. He's not gonna settle. Like, he's gonna let he's telling the owner, like, hey, every dollar you paid me is gonna be worth it.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. I'm
gonna be on the bench for half the season, but I'll put my head and soul into it. Not heart, just head.
Head and soul.
For receiving, he spread it around pretty much everywhere. Jalen Waddle, 3 for 57. Jonnu Smith, 3 for 45. Raheem Mostert, 2 for 34. OBJ, 2 for 17.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, pretty quiet.
Yeah.
But he had a touchdown, 3 for 16 and a tutty. They really didn't have to do much on offense because their defense was just killing the Rams.
Yep.
And Malik Washington got a rushing touchdown.
Yes,
What are we doing? What are we doing here? This wasn't a good game by any means, but it did show, like, Dolphins are still there. They're still competitive. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone was high in the Rams because they knocked off the Vikings after the Lions did, and then they beat who the hell did they beat last week?
No, they lost to the Bills in the
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, they kept a competitive game with probably one of the best teams in the NFL.
They're getting all their guys back.
Yeah, and everyone was healthy. And then the Miami Dolphins were like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sit down, you're not a good football team. And come back down to with us.
Wait, were you
come
talking about the
us.
Rams?
Yeah.
My bad. I was talking about the Dolphins. So the Dolphins lost 28-27 to the Cardinals, lost 30-27 to the Bills. Then they won this game. Rams.
Rams, they beat the Seahawks last week.
That's it.
That's who they beat.
My bad.
I thought they won 2 in a row. Oh, they were
3 in a row.
Yeah,
Beat
they
the
won 3 in a
Raiders.
row. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they took them off their high horse.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. All right, that wraps up our Week 10 review. Let's get into glazing some folks with that Chris Collinsworth glaze this week. Who wants to start it off? I can start it off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why not? I got to glaze my guy, Joe Burr.
Yep.
He's just, we talked about it, incredible Thursday night game. Dude threw for 400-plus yards, 4 touchdowns. Pretty much all that was to Jamar Chase. And
Yeah.
they lost, but they looked incredible, and Joe Burrow had a career game. He really did.
Double that up with Jamar Chase there. Give that guy some love, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Cletus, you want to go or you want me to go?
You can go.
All right, well, I'll highlight 2 guys while you're looking for one. I'll get one defense and one offense. Well, first, we'll go offense first. Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard ran for basically 150 yards on the ground. I was praising Bryce Young, but this offense has been running through Chuba Hubbard all season long. He's doing everything that he can. He just got paid, so good for that guy.
Proving he's worth that money.
He almost looked like he tore his MCL in this game, but it bounced right back.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he got torn down like really bad and fumbled the ball on that because his knee was twisted sideways, and then he came running back into the game and finished it out for him. But he had a great game, and then on the defensive side, different game. But a big reason of why they won, Carlton Davis been shat on all year long. Detroit Lions cornerback has not been good all year, but in this game he had 2 picks, 2 interceptions on C.J. Stroud that were real turning points in this game to get the Lions back into it, climbing out of that 23-7 hole. He had a great week. Finally, about time they did something because Terrion Arnold's not going to do anything.
No, he didn't do much.
Yeah,
I'm going to glaze my boy, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Worthy.
That dude won that game. He beat Patrick Mahomes. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
He actually played better than Patrick Mahomes. Like, he did what he was supposed to. They won that game in my mind.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone else's mind except for the box score.
Yep.
So I'm going to have to glaze that boy.
I like that. Bo Nix gets a lot of love on our show, and
He does.
I don't hate it at all.
We love Bo Nix.
I just love him.
He just does everything right.
He does.
Yeah, plays the game the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That wraps up our Week 10 review and our glazing and all that good stuff. We're happy to be back. Keaton's trying to show his incredible beard, I think.
Yeah.
Chin up a little bit. There you go. Keaton's growing a beard. We're glad to be off our bye week. Thank you guys for watching. Check us out on the next episode. We'll be doing Week 11 preview. Yeah, thanks for watching. Suggestions, feedback, comments, let us know down in the comments somewhere.
Post notifications.
Turn or subscribe, like, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Post notifications. We got a cool green graphic.
Yeah, it's for Veterans Day. We got that tan and green, kind of like camo-ish.
Military. Yeah.
More graphics next week. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for your service, veterans out there. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Email us lastsoftsportstalk@gmail.com. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next episode.